Has. Hi, Master. How are you
How are
doing?
you, buddy? Yeah, I'm doing well, mate.
Well,
I'm doing well, thank you.
so, Has India, Australia in Chepauk. And I think for once, the people of Chennai will not be rooting for the men in yellow, I think.
Yeah, I think you might be right. It's what a first game for both countries. It's going to be an absolute classic. India looking good touch. They're starting to come together nicely. Obviously, they beat Australia pretty comfortably, really, in the one-day series in the lead up to the World Cup. But I think Australia will be clinging on to last year, where I think Australia knocked off India at the Chepauk in a one-day series last year. So hopefully, they can take some confidence out of that. But it should be an absolute classic game between two Titanic teams, really. So can't wait for it to start.
Yes, I like that an Australian cricketer are trying to pick up on a past record where Australia has beaten India. See, I'm just not speaking being an Indian, but on paper, definitely India look much better on paper and on form. They look much more balanced, and of course the conditions. Us in Chennai, always spinners little bit rules the roost. When it comes to India, they have a better spin attack. Of course, Jaddu is there, Ravindra Jadeja is there, who knows the conditions like the back of his hand, and Ravichandran Ashwin is made a good comeback. Back into the side. That's where I think that India definitely have an edge, because Australia seem to. If you look at their team, spin area is something that is a little bit light. You think?
Yeah,
I feel
so.
That's
the one area that I'm a little bit concerned about. Got the one specialist spinner in Adam Zampa, and then they'll try and mix and match for the others. So Maxwell will probably bowl some handy overs. You never know, maybe Labuschagne might bowl. If Travis Head was fit, he'd probably bowl a few overs as well. But I think it's better to have those specialist spinners that can really understand the conditions and bowl well in those conditions. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think India certainly has an advantage in that area. But India has a very, very good team all round. They've got class all the way down the list. I'd hate to be a selector and try and have to pick that final 11. It'd be an absolute nightmare. You could fit almost about 15 players into the best 11, going around. So it'll be interesting. I think they're obviously really strong towards the top end when you've got the likes of Rohit and Shubman Gill and Virat in that top. But their middle order can be so dangerous as well, with the likes of Suryakumar Yadav, Ishan Kishan if he can get a run. It just looks, a really well-balanced team. Good fast bowlers. I'm really looking forward to seeing Bumrah back in action as well, after being out for so long.
It's actually so good that even Suryakumar Yadav might not find a place in the 11, is what I think. I think it might be clear. Even Shreyas Iyer might not find a place in the 11 if it's Ishan Kishan. But yes, like you said, India has a very, very strong lineup. Fast bowlers, that is something that I'm looking forward to. Mitchell Starc against Rohit Sharma. It's going to be something. Even against Virat Kohli, I think Starc has been going. He's got a hat-trick in the practice game. I watched that spell. It was phenomenal. I think wicket and conditions is not going to be a huge matter. And Rohit, Virat, openers against the top order against Starc. That is an exciting, mouth-watering contest. I'm actually looking forward to seeing that.
Well, I think it's probably going to be the key contest in this match, because both teams are wanting to get off to a good start. And if, from an Indian perspective, if the likes of Rohit and Shubman Gill and Virat Kohli can get through that new ball and get India off to that nice positive start, then obviously one of those guys is going to go on and score a big score. But that also takes a lot of pressure off the middle order dangerous players, the Shreyas Iyers, the Suryakumar Yadavs, the Ishan Kishans, the Hardik Pandya. They can come in and just play with enormous freedom and get India to a massive total. But from an Australian perspective, if Mitchell Starc and the other opening bowlers can take a couple of early wickets and knock over Rohit early, knock over Virat early, that puts pressure on India's middle order, and then hopefully that can keep the score down a little bit. So I think it's probably the key contest in the match. Mitchell Starc with that new ball against the Indian openers to really set the tone for the whole tournament, really.
I can see that Australian emotion coming out. Get in there early, get those few wickets. I can see that Australian renewal coming out as yes. I expect a flat wicket. I think in Chepauk, dryish flat wicket.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll take a little bit of spin. Sure, it'll take some spin as the game wears on. But you mentioned the crowd. Like, as a past player, and even now as a coach, it's one of the things you absolutely cherish and love about playing in a ground like Chepauk. The crowd are so loud, they're so passionate, but they're also really knowledgeable as well, and they really understand the game. And and just the support that you get as a player, I think that they'll appreciate good cricket. Obviously, they're going to be pro India and want to see India do well. But if there is an Australian that performs really well, I'm sure they'll respect that and applaud accordingly.
Yeah. Great. It's always great playing in Chepauk because they are a knowledgeable crowd, and they are the crowd in Chepauk is one of those crowds who's always neutral. You know, they always support good cricket. Like even if an opposition batsman scores 100, they just rise and they give a standing ovation. So it's a great crowd to have. And I wanted to ask you this. Of course, you mentioned what you like about playing in Chepauk in India. Is there anything as an Australian cricketer you hated to play against India in India? Something, this against India, this is going to be, playing in India, something? Is there anything like that?
There's lots of different challenges for sure. It's just so different than what we're used to here in Australia. The pitches are different. We're used to the fast, bouncy pitches. Indian pitches are generally a bit slower and they take some turn. As you might not, quite often you have to start against spin or you start against the reverse swinging ball, which is, a challenge in itself. There's the heat and the humidity. I come from Perth, it gets quite dry. It gets quite hot, but it's a dry heat. But in Chennai, that humidity really saps you. So I find it pretty tough there as well. And then there's the noise of the crowd.
Yeah, I see you wrinkle those shirts literally almost, washed out. Oh my God, yeah. Both India and Australia will be looking to get a good start into this tournament. But if we see the other teams as well, there are some quite a few strong teams as well as from Indian perspective. I'm looking at if there are any threats, because we would fancy India and Australia to first get into the top 4 because they've always been a consistent team. But then England also looks like a really, really strong team. Of course, they are the defending champions. They've got a huge long batting lineup. They seem a little bit like could be a threat. And then New Zealand, they are also finding their feet. Kane Williamson is back. They are a good team. And Pakistan, you can never rule their bowling attack out. So whom do you think will be kind of testing apart from India? Who will give a strong test to Australia? You think us?
Mate, it's so hard. I'm like you. It's so difficult to pick who the semi-finalists are going to be. I think I've got 6 teams making the semi-finals at this stage. I know only 4 can make it, but I've got 6. I think the only other team you missed maybe is South Africa. South Africa have got a good team as well. They played the last 3 matches against Australia in South Africa. They really started to find some form. I feel like their bowling's got to fire. Their batting looks really strong, but their bowling's going to have to really fire for them to get up there. And look, you can't discount Sri Lanka. They obviously made the Asia Cup final.
Yes, I miss Sri Lanka.
They're playing in subcontinental conditions as well. They're almost an underrated team. So there's probably now 7 teams that could make the semi-finals. So it's such a tough competition, and I think that's what it's great.
That's just us being us. Come on, you're always too nice. You're the nicest Australian I ever met today.
If you do want to press me, I've been thinking about. Obviously, I want Australia to get through to make the final, but I think the 2 favourite teams are India and England. I think if they all play to their top, their peak, then I feel as though those 2 teams are good enough to make the final. Obviously, I'm a bit biased and I'd love Australia to beat one of those teams, but you cannot discount those other teams we've mentioned. Pakistan, South Africa, New Zealand, they always seem to be up there. Sri Lanka, there's so many good teams, but it always takes a little bit of luck along the way.
Yes, I also agree. That's what I've been saying. India and England are my favourites. At least on paper, they look the most balanced team. Of course, when it comes to World Cups, it's the pressure as well as on that day. You need to handle those big moments in a World Cup, especially. India will be under a little bit of pressure because playing at home, they're expected to do well and expected to win. I don't think people will be happy with anything less than a trophy from this Indian side. So India, Australia, the 3 players whom you think will make an impact, you think?
I think Shubman Gill at the top of the order, I think is going to be really important for India. I think Jadeja through the middle, and then one of the fast bowlers. I'm tossing up between Bumrah or Shami as one of the 2 very important sort of fast bowlers. But
Shami might not make the
I'd like to say,
Shami might
really?
not make
wow, that's big news. That
Siraj,
anyway,
Siraj is the highest wicket taker. He took a 6-wicket haul in the Asia Cup final, so I think Siraj will play. But
maybe.
Unfortunate. India is so strong that Shami has to miss out.
Yeah, that's crazy. He can put on our clothes and he can come and play for Australia then. I'm sure we'll fit him in our 11.
Oh my God.
No, but from an Australian point of view, I think I think Mitch Marsh at the top of the order is going to be very important for Australia. He's playing very well at the moment. He's playing with a lot of confidence. And if he gets going, he's very difficult to stop. So he'll get Australia straight off to that fast start. And if he does, then that takes pressure off the likes of David Warner, Steve Smith, and there's Marnus Labuschagne if he's in there as well. He'll take pressure off them because he scores so quickly. So I think he's going to be a key player. I think someone like Glenn Maxwell through the middle will be key as well. He's someone that can take the game away from India very quickly. He's starting to become a little bit more consistent, which is exciting. And plus he'll also bowl some handy overs as well. So he's going to be important. And then we've already spoken about it. Mitchell Starc with that brand new ball is going to be a key man for Australia as well.
Oh yes, I totally agree. I'm gonna keep my eyes on Virat Kohli. I think because he's the one. He always gets it going when it's against Australia. Something when he sees yellow. I don't know whether it is Australia. When he sees yellow, he brings out his A game. You know that he's got a very good record against Australia as well, and so I think Virat will be kind of a key player for me, and I think he's going to really be hyped because might be his last World Cup, last ODI World Cup probably he's playing, so he will definitely want to make his mark in this. And Bumrah is something that I would never ever rule out. You mentioned already Jadeja, but Bumrah is someone who will test the Australians. He's coming back from injury. He's done something with his wrist. He's moving the ball both ways now. He's got a really upright seam position since he came back from injury, something that I think he's worked on. And coming to Australia, the player that you have mentioned, but I just want to keep my eyes on Adam Zampa as well, because he's going to be a key because he's every match he has to bowl 10 overs, and his 10 overs is going to be critical because he's the only specialist spinner in the squad. So that is a bit of load to take. I mean, Shane Warne was Mr. Shane Warne was the one who actually did it, but he had the ability to play just as a single spinner and do it. But Adam Zampa, does it have it in him? Is what I'm keen to look at, because in India he's going to be a key factor, being the lone specialist spinner. That's a pretty big responsibility to take. So I'll be keeping my eyes on him as well. Good fun, Hus. Good chatting with you. Good to catch up with you as well after a while. I think we're both looking forward and excited for the World Cup, and especially India Australia. A lot of cricket ahead as well. I hope you enjoy it from your home, relaxed, chilled. Just you don't need to worry. Just chill and watch it.
Thanks, Badri. It's been great to catch up. Great to see you again, mate. After too long. I hope you really enjoy the World Cup. I'm sure it's going to be a great tournament. I'm sure India will be up there, and let's hope Australia are up there too. I'm really looking forward to this first match, India versus Australia at the Chepauk. What a way for both teams to start their campaigns. And I think it's such an important game for both teams, because both teams are going to be looking to get off to that good, positive start, a winning start, just to help them get into the tournament. So it's a massive game in the whole context of the tournament.
One last word, Has India or Australia? Quick prediction. Just a random one.
I'm going to back Australia to get the job done in an upset at the Chepauk.
Of course.
Yellow always plays well at the Chepauk.
Yes, let's see. Thank you, Haz. Take care. Enjoy.
No worries. See you, bud. Good on you, mate.